I have been wanting to evolve past trying to explain the world through talking about my personal experiences to providing you with the tools that you need to interact with the world and make your own decisions based upon using different frameworks. I'm going to give you 3 questions that will change how you see and interact with the people around you. They're not tricks, they're pattern recognition tools. And once you see the patterns, it will change how you look and interact with the people and world around you. If you recognize yourself in these things that I'm about to describe, that's okay. Awareness is the first step. The choice to change is always available. And hopefully I'll be able to provide some more tools for that. But there are many tools and resources out there once you realize and come to terms with the fact that you might be engaging in these patterns. If you're trying to understand why some people seem impossible to trust or predict, this can help you understand why. The credentials test. Listen to what someone says about degrees or credentials. If they publicly talk about how a degree doesn't necessarily mean someone is qualified or intelligent, fine, yeah, I agree with that. That's true. But then watch what they do. Do they use their degrees or do they use the degrees of others as a basis for legitimacy? Like, you should listen to me because of this. Or when someone asks, like, on what basis? They say, well, I have this degree. Well, that contradicts what they said earlier, right? Do they automatically defer to people because they've had academic success? Like, do they automatically assume that you should listen to a professor or someone who has a PhD just based off of that? It's a good indicator for sure, but that contradicts what they said earlier. And also they made a good point of it's not everything. Do they use someone's lack of formal education to dismiss them or justify their exclusion? Like when someone's talking and sharing like someone else's opinion and they're like, well, what did they know? What school did they go to? Did they study that? Or when they talk about like some people struggling or individuals struggling to enter the workforce or to be accepted as legitimate, they point to their lack of degree or certificate. That shows bad faith. That's not a real person, that's a script. They don't have real principles about credentials. They have a strategy. They criticize the system when it doesn't serve them and invoke it when it does. These people are dangerous because they're insecure, and insecure people attack anyone who threatens to expose that they don't belong where they are. Section 2, the systems test. Listen to what someone says about work and social systems. If they call these systems corrupt, unfair, or not true measures of competence or character, it's often accurate. These are accurate statements, but then watch. Do they swoon over socially approved or highly paid people without knowing them? Are they automatically attracted and defer to the people that everyone else wants to be around? If someone has a high-paying job or they find out that they're wealthy, do they automatically think highly of them? Do they say, what do they even get paid to do to dismiss someone? That's a very common one. Do they use no one likes them as evidence of someone's incompetence or poor character? All of these things, you can say whatever you want and can think what you want, but they contradict what they said earlier, right? You found someone who doesn't believe in anything. They publicly criticize the broken system for social gain because that's the popular thing to do, but privately defend it at all costs because it personally benefits them. They are frauds, and they're the immune system that protects corrupt institutions from reform because they benefit from those institutions even while performing criticism of them. So you think you have allies, you think there's opposition, but that doesn't actually exist. Section 3, the self-referential test. Listen to someone say IQ scores or standardized tests don't measure intelligence. Then watch what happens when they reveal they scored average or lower. Right? This is a very common one. where people say like, have all these long stories about why IQ test or ACT or SAT scores don't predict anything. How often are those people average or worse? It is so common in my experience. Or listen for them to say, that person couldn't even meet the qualifications. So-and-so is an actual genius. They scored XXX, right? Like, build up someone else in the third party. They got accepted into XXX institution, right? They got accepted into Harvard. They like talking them up so highly. You can't get accepted into Harvard. Almost no one gets accepted into good institutions without those test scores. It's not everything, but you can't get into them without that. Do you see the disconnect? They don't have principles, they have wounds. They reject the measurements that didn't validate them, but use it as a weapon when convenient. Dangerously insecure, desperately seeking approval. These people are dangerous. Personally dangerous, they will sacrifice you for social capital. Systematically dangerous, they occupy positions that others belong in because the masters put them there. They are the pets of the powerful people they claim to oppose. And when they see someone who didn't sell out, who took the harder path, they recognize them as either a threat to their comfort. So instead of growth, they attack. Either consciously, because they understand what's happening, or subconsciously, because their masters showed them how to treat an outsider. You don't need credentials to see through this. You don't need test scores or institutional approval. You just need to be willing to look at reality instead of scripts. In my next video, we'll talk about how to evaluate people and separate the real ones through the fakes by questions and observations. By that I mean when someone claims that they are this, or claims that they are such as respectable, or claims that they're a good person, just ask why. Not from a challenging standpoint, but from a I believe you and I want to understand exactly why you're respectable, why you are a trustworthy person. Please tell me more so I can know specifically why and I can treat you with the respect you deserve. Approach everyone as they are who they say they are, but verify. Trust but verify.